Hi Patty, this is Mike from Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine, and this is your beautiful white sewing machine. And this is the final test before we pack her up to ship her out to you. And in this test, we're going to go over the basic operation of the machine, how to wind the bobbin, how to thread the machine, how to use your foot control even, and set the stitch length, etc., etc. This is your knee control. Can be used as a foot control, or you can put a couple screws in it and screw it to whatever and make it a knee control. When you want to use it for a knee control, you just swing this little lever around and you have a knee control. I'm going to use it as a foot control for this test, but you know what to do when you get it. Let's see. Always unplug your machine when you're not using it, especially with vintage sewing machines, but actually with any sewing machine. Vintage sewing machines, instead of operating with electronics like a modern foot control, it has a rheostat in it, which raises and lowers the amount of electricity that the motor gets by using up some of the power in a big resistor. So resistance makes heat, and anyway. The vintage foot controls are not unsafe, but it's always best to unplug them. Anyway, I could rattle on and on. Just unplug it. Let's see. Let's start by winding a bobbin. As you can tell, I've already pre-tested the machine and spiffed it up a little bit. You'll find your bobbin in the bobbin case down below the slide plate. Let's add a little light here. Right here. There's a little latch on the front of it, and as long as you're holding that latch, to pull it in and out and move it around, your bobbin stays in the bobbin case and doesn't drop out, which is cool when you're moving it around. So release the latch and you can pull your bobbin out. And your, I may be blabbing on for no good purpose, but if you already know this machine well, but just in case you need a tutorial or a little brush up, that's what this video is all about. So this is your bobbin winder, and there's some old thread on here, and there's absolutely no reason to wind over old thread. Nobody ever reuses it, and it reduces the amount of thread you can put on, and other reasons. So put your spool on the spool pin. And go through the thread guide on the front here, down to the tension device for the bobbin winder, which is down here, and then through one of the holes in the side of the bobbin from the inside toward the out. Put your bobbin on the bobbin winder, turn the rubber tire until the little keeper pin slips into the slot in the side of the bobbin. Press your bobbin down until it makes contact with the hand wheel. Probably be simpler to do this first, but release the clutch by turning the chrome knob in the center of the hand wheel towards you, a quarter turn or so. And that releases the hand wheel from the rest of the machine, so you can wind a bobbin without making the machine cycle. holding on to the tail of thread that's coming out of your bobbin. Give it a little gas. There's no reason to go fast. Okay, I'm going to adjust that. Once it's on there, clip off that little tail of thread. Should be enough for our test. Now, with the thread coming off of the top of the bobbin in this direction, drop the bobbin into the bobbin case and direct the thread up into this little slanted slot and up under the flat leaf spring until it clicks into place. Holding the latch and with this little thumb pointing up, slip it onto the spindle in the center of the hook down here. To thread the machine, you have 2 collapsible spool pins and 2 holes in your thread guide here. So you should be able to use a double needle in this machine without any trouble. Okay, put your spool on the spool pin. Go through one of the 2 holes in the thread guide. Down and between the discs of the tension assembly, all the way around to the top again, and then behind this little thin wire looking check spring. Go back down and under the big thread guide down here. And now when you pull up, it should make your little check spring bounce up and down. And you know you got it right. Go through the take up lever here, the thing goes up and down while you're sewing, from the right towards the left, down to the thread guide at the bottom here. And you can slip it in this way. I think it's easier to just open the door there and slip it in, but you can struggle with it all you want the other way. And down to the thread guide on the needle clamp. And then through the eye of the needle from the left towards the right, towards the center of the machine. And if you cut a fresh end on your thread, it won't have those little frayed edges to make it difficult to get through the eye of the needle. Be careful not to wrap around the needle clamp screw or anything else down there. Now to bring up your lower thread, hold the needle thread loosely, and the needle will take the thread down where the hook will pick it up, wrap it around the bobbin, and bring up your lower thread. So retighten the chrome knob in the center of your hand wheel. I forgot to mention that. Turn the hand wheel towards you 1 full revolution. And when you get back to the top, you'll be able to pull up your lower thread. Maybe even turn it a little further than right to the top. But once you get to the top, you'll be able to pull up your lower thread. Put the thread between the toes of the presser foot and towards the back. Put your fabric under the presser foot, lower the presser foot using the lever on the back here. and you're ready to sew. This knob here is your feed drop. That drops the teeth of the feed dogs so you can do darning, machine embroidery, patching, write your name, whatever you want to do. And to drop the teeth of the feed dog, you turn the knob to the left, clockwise, to the down position. It's written right on here, pretty simple to understand. And also, if you're going to be moving the fabric yourself instead of the machine, press down on the collar of the presser foot adjuster. It'll pop up and release the pressure on the sewing foot. So now you have control of everything. You'll be able to move it around. When you're ready to go back to regular sewing, press the pin in the center down to a third or halfway down, just so there's enough pressure on the sewing foot to move your fabric along with authority. Turn the feed drop knob back to the high position, and you're ready to sew. Your teeth are up again, and they'll be moving the fabric. This also has a low position for delicate fabric if you don't want the teeth to come up quite as far, because they could mar your delicate fabric. And you turn it to low. But we're going to go to high, keep it there. We're sewing denim, 2 layers of denim. This is your stitch length, which is pretty self-explanatory. It tells how long each stitch is going to be. 0, of course, being straight stitch. 0 being the teeth don't move the fabric at all, which is not a good position to sew in, because the thread will build up a big lump underneath beneath the needle plate, and you won't be able to move your fabric, and you'll have to stop and cut it out. If you have a satin stitch foot, you can use really short stitch lengths, just above 0. But if you just have a regular sewing foot, the short stitches will build up a little bit of height, and they'll slow the fabric down from moving, and again put a clump under your needle plate. So unless you have a satin stitch foot, which has a little channel in the bottom, so that slightly higher thread will glide on through. Just stay up to where your fabric moves along nicely. Anyway, more blab. We're going to set it at about 2, which is usually a pretty mid-range ballpark stitch length for regular thread and fabric. If you're sewing something special, you may need a little bit longer or shorter stitches. For instance, leather, you have to have longer stitches, so there's more meat in between each needle hole. Makes a stronger stitch. Anyway, that's a sewing thing, not a sewing machine thing. Yeah, the brain's running a little slow this morning. Sorry about that. Okay, that's your stitch length. You have from 0 to 5 being your longest stitches. We're going to set it at 2. The button in the middle is your reverse. That's your back tack, if you want to go back a few stitches. And it's going to go in reverse as far as it was going in forward. So if your stitch length is 2, your reverse stitches should be 2 as well. This up here is your stitch width for your zigzag. These little spring-loaded sliding buttons are the keepers that lock it in place. So if you want to do a stitch that's number 3, say, then you move the lever up until it makes contact. I'm sorry, first move the button over to where you want it to be. I have it on 3. Push the lever over until it makes contact with that button. Push the other button in and slide it over, and then it's locked in place. Your stitch width, the width of your zigzag is not going to change. We'll just set it on 4, which is the widest zigzag. Let's don't. Let's set it on 0 and start with a straight stitch. It makes more sense. Let's go. Anything else we need to know? No. Okay. So give it a little gas. No reason to go fast. Although you can. You can go as fast or slow as you want. Reverse. Forward. Reverse. Forward. Now we'll give it a little bit of zigzag. So I'm going to go all the way up to 4. And there we go. Nothing complicated about it. Beautiful. Nicely balanced top and bottom. That's about it. The light button is this red button on the face. And you're going to want to oil her after every 8 hours or so of sewing. Just 1 or 2 drops in each movement point where 2 pieces of steel ride against each other, either as a rotation or a swing or a slide, or wherever 2 pieces of steel move against each other, you want a drop of sewing machine oil. I've already oiled it, but you'll see that there are oil holes in each one of the movement points behind the faceplate. Each of those get a drop of oil. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe, 5 oiling points inside there. Plus, you want to put a drop on the needle bar just outside of where it's going to go through the holes in the needle bar frame, so the oil will get carried in there as you sew. All those movement points want a little bit of oil, because if it's properly oiled, the metal parts don't really touch each other. They ride on a thin film of oil, and it keeps them keeps the friction down to an absolute minimum. On the bottom of the machine, there are some oiling points as well. I'll see if I have a user manual for this machine that will have an oiling guide in it. There's an oil hole in the shaft of the bobbin winder underneath this push button thing, whatever you call it, that little plate-shaped push button. And there are 2 screws to take the top off and oil the movement points under there. When you oil, it's a good idea to take off the base plate. Very simple. Just 2 flat slotted screws. Oops. And then with the pressure foot raised, this plate just slides out of the way, and you can brush out the dust and lint that's in there and vacuum it out, and it'll extend the life of your sewing machine if you do that each time you oil. And then when you put it back in, make sure that your lower thread is out of the way. In fact, I'm going to get it below the teeth of the feed dogs, just so it doesn't get caught between the feed dogs and the slots in the plate. Just slide it into place, and it's pretty much impossible to do it wrong. Put the screws back in, snug them down. They don't have to be super tight, just good and snug. Also, when you raise the pressure foot, it releases all of the tension on your tension assembly, so you can pull your fabric out. And then when you lower it, then it returns the pressure. On this particular machine, the ballpark setting for your tension is around 3. I have it at maybe 3 1/4 right now, but somewhere right around there. And just check your stitches. If it looks like they're being pulled up from the top and pulled down from the bottom, so that the stitches meet in the middle of the fabric, instead of laying on top of the fabric on the top or the bottom, or making little loops. As long as the thread is being pulled in from the top and the bottom, your tension is good. If your fabric is puckery, you might have a little too much tension. If it's loose and loopy, you might want to add a little tension, just depending on what needle, what thread, what fabric you're using at the time. But for basic sewing, you want to be at about 3. If you go up or down, it's just in tiny increments. Dang, I just can't think of anything else to say about this machine. These are the cords that come from the motor and from the light. The motor has a little tag on it that says motor, so you know which of the outlets it goes in if you ever have reason to take them out. If you take them out and you can't remember which one goes in which hole, you'll know right away, because your light will only come on when you press the foot pedal, and when you plug the motor in, it's going to run full speed immediately until you unplug it again. This is the power block that goes from the come from the machine. Okay, this end of the cord plugs in to your outlet, to your home outlet. This end of the cord goes to your knee lever. And the outlets are labeled motor and lamp, so it's kind of hard to mess that up anyway. So gosh, that's it. Got a great machine, runs good, sounds good, fast and strong. It's so pretty. Sometimes I hate to let them go. Anyway, thank you so much. We really appreciate your patronage. We love doing this, and we can only keep doing it as long as we have support from sewing machine lovers like you. All right, good day.